good, y'all? It's a Project Man, and today we're back again another video. Now, this is going to be a little bit different. Usually, I do my reactions and all that good stuff. I mean, y'all can still recommend some reactions down below if you want me to get onto a specific reaction. But today is a little bit different, man. Today is a day where we don't got to worry about copyright, because funny enough, that's what I had to worry about because of I had reacted to a Dude Perfect video. I don't know, I almost couldn't say that. Dude Perfect video. And it got copyrighted. So I don't know if Dude Perfect started copyrighting their videos now or what, but yeah, that reaction got blocked out. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get into something a little wrestling related. Shout out to my WWE fans out there. You'll see the thumbnail and title and know exactly what's up. And that was last night as we're going into WrestleMania, April, I think it's 18th or 18th and 19th, I think. As we're going into WrestleMania, in which I don't know if I'll be streaming live of that, but I will have some clips to post, like, of my reaction, because I'll be able to still do the reactions, but I don't know if I'll have it live or not. I don't know about if I'm going to do that yet. But anyway, let's go on and get into it, man. MSG, Monday Night Raw. You already know they be packing the shows when it comes to MSG. They do that on purpose with the WWE because that's like they're pretty much their home. They, you know, since the Vince McMahon senior days when he was the promoter, you know, they always made MSG pretty much their home. And because they pretty much made that their home for the WWE, that means they purposely pack the shows more than they usually would for their other shows. Saying all that, after I get the chapstick on, say all that to say, we started the show off interesting, man. We had Cody Rhodes, the WWE champion. We started off with him, and then and the Queen sorry, Stephanie McMahon's theme song. Stephanie comes out there, and I already knew what angle they were going with here. Like, cause for those who don't know, then you probably not gonna know a lot of what I'm talking about in this video if you don't know. But anyway, obviously the history is, you know, there because Cody Rhodes is feuding with Randy Orton, and Randy Orton is at his peak heel form right now. And during that peak heel form days, the 2009 to like 2010 run, you know, Stephanie McMahon was a victim of that run when she got, I don't know if it was RKO'd or draping DDT. She got DDT'd or RKO'd, something like that. Some type of way she was left unconscious. And Triple H, you know, her real life husband, you know, he was cuffed to the rope. And he had to watch as Randy Orton despicably watches him as if he's a cuck or, you know, something like that. You know what I'm saying? And he freaking gives Stephanie a kiss as she's freaking cold, unconscious, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, it was a crazy moment. It was peak diabolicalness, if that's even a word, from Randy Orton. So that's the history there as to why Stephanie's kind of playing the role of like, hey, basically saying, in shortest terms, you need to lock in because this guy is vicious. I would know, basically, on that type of time of I would know. And Stephanie was saying, you know, your dad gets down and dirty. You know, Dusty Rhodes, he got down and dirty, and you are not your father. Basically saying, like, you basically can't go to those depths, or you're not showing that you can go to those levels. And Cody Rhodes get fired up and like, you know what, basically, you know, you're not your dad either. Like, you know, you're not basically on it. You know, you don't have his lineage, his legacy. You don't have that either. You know what I'm saying? And, yeah, there was that happened, and then Stephanie slapped him after that, and then Stephanie tried to walk away, and because before she walked away, she said he was gonna lose that title at Mania if he doesn't get in the same headspace that Randy Orton is, because you know he's listening to the voices and he's going to that place, and you need to mentally at least be able to go to that goddamn place if you want to stand a chance against Orton. And Cody, on some manly type timing, that boy grabbed a hold of her arm, swung her goddamn, and said, "Hey, basically, hey, bitch." No, he didn't say that, but he swung her around like on that, hey, bitch, you know, you why the fuck you talking to type shit. Anyway, he said, I got two words for you, and you know, it's New York. So, I mean, they would have said this anyway, but especially in New York, they love disrespect, so they said, suck it. Because I guess that kind of would have symbolized that Cody's going to that place, but he said thank you, and of course they booed that. But it was basically they were signaling, like, I think she got what she wanted out of him as far as getting him to go to that place to be able to stand a chance to get Randy Orton. So that was the symbolism there. So, nice segment. I will wholeheartedly agree that it was a much better segment than what they did on Friday Night SmackDown, where they just had that weak brawl. In a sense, it looked awkward. And another problem with the brawl, I feel like, is they looked like they were trying to fill up time more than they were trying to simulate violence. It kind of felt more like we're filling time for these last 10 minutes on the air. So I think that is partly why it didn't land like the brawl. I think if they would have had a vicious pull apart brawl, or maybe even Cody got a little bit of blood out of Randy Orton, maybe if they would have done a real pull apart brawl where they're beating each other up, they're beating each other down, you know what I'm saying? You can see the roughness, the aggression, and then maybe you could end it with Cody cutting like a 2-minute, after they separate them finally, Cody can cut a 2-minute promo going in on Randy Orton as much as he can in that short frame of time, and that's how you could have ended the show off, you know what I'm saying? But that's nonetheless neither here nor there. This was definitely a better segment, and there is actually, like I said, that tie-in with the fact that Orton was as diabolical as could be when he RKO'd Stephanie and kissed her in front of Triple H while he was handcuffed to the rope. And that's actually, and it's funny, I wish they would have brought up the fact that, because they were like, man, he's so vicious that like the WWE can't even like, you know, show those clips and stuff like that because of how diabolical he was, and how Cody also had said in his promo, I forgot to mention that everybody wants this story of this like student teacher dynamic, but I'm basically here to show him that like I'm not the student, you know what I'm saying? Like we're like, you know, we're peers, you know what I'm saying? I'm not the student anymore, because I mean, hell, I was taking care of you when you was out there, you know, laid out and drooling, you know, when you were freaking basically, you know, wasn't all the way there mentally and stuff like that. I was basically having to take care of your ass, basically, you know what I'm saying? Babysitting you. But anyway, moving on, that was a nice way to start the show. And we got my boy, my brother, born in the same year and everything. My boy Asho Speed ended up costing the Usos the tag team championships, because earlier he was interacting with Danhausen, and Danhausen was just asking for too much, and he was like, because Speed was trying to lift his curse, and Danhausen was just asking for too much. Speed was like, I can't do that for you, and Danhausen was like, hey, bro, well then you don't get uncursed. So that played into the fold in the tag team street fight match with the Usos and the Vision, you know, Logan Paul, Austin Theory. So mom of Logan, Logan's mother, was in the front row. She gave him his brass knuckles, you know what I'm saying, trying to play the role of W Moms, helping the son out win the match. And Logan was going to get dragged, I think, by LA Knight, because LA Knight was commentating for this match. So he came out from the commentary table, tried to pull Logan, and then Logan grabbed a hold of Speed. That pulled Speed over the barricade, and he had the brass knucks on the floor, and you know, Speed was like, you know, putting the brass knucks on, like, okay, I might need knocking the motherfucker out. And not realizing it was LA Knight that pulled him, like that grabbed a hold of his shoulder, he turned around and just struck him, because he thought that was Logan. You know, he thought, you know, he didn't know what to do. So he struck him, and he kind of played the role like, yo, bro, my bad, I didn't mean to do that. And that ended up having the Usos lose the match, because Speed left the brass knucks on the apron for Logan Paul to grab, and Logan, you know, used them to knock out, I think it was Jimmy. And Austin Theory got the cover on him for the 1, 2, 3 new tag team champions going into Mania. You know what I'm saying? Another new champion. We had a new U.S. champion, a new Intercontinental champion going into Mania. So yeah, a lot of different champions now going into WrestleMania. But anyway, moving along. They raised Speed's arm, and Speed is just like, bro, I did not mean to do this. He's just like, God damn it. You know what I'm saying? And they even had a backstage segment where Paul Heyman was like, yeah, the Vision's going to take care of you, Speed. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be good. Y'all go out and celebrate, because y'all just, you know, you helped them win the tag titles. They're thanking Speed, and Speed's like, I didn't mean to do this. And Paul was like, yo, y'all take care of him. You know, go celebrate with him. Y'all became champions. Then after they walked off, Paul was like, yeah, the Usos are going to kill him. You know what I'm saying? So that was good stuff. It could end up being a 6-man tag. I could see at WrestleMania being the Vision and Speed versus the Usos and LA Knight. That way you get all those stars on the card. So I can see that happening. I don't know if that's going to be the Mania match, but I can see that happening. Moving along. Great segment happened between probably the most exciting match on the card, as far as like, not the other matches have been like just terrible build, but this has been the most exciting build as far as nothing's missed. Like with Roman and Punk, you can say that the 4th week kind of missed a little bit with the old man line. It wasn't a bad line. It just wasn't really a good closer. If we're trying to close out a promo to really sell a match, that didn't come off like a line that really was like sell. So it's kind of taken a little bit of a dip with the Roman and Punk stuff, as far as just consistently making this build better and not regressing. And part of that is because they kind of got into the deep shit a little fast, as far as with the whole, it went from Roman saying he hated you, which was fine, but then the next week is all the way to he's bringing up his dead dad, and it's kind of like, I think they elevated a little too quick, but that's not beside the point, because this segment has been great. It's probably the most exciting build going into WrestleMania is this match, and it feels like a WrestleMania main event, which means they're doing good, because it was Paul Heyman talking that ish as he does with Brock Lesnar being the guy, you know, big brother bouncing around in the ring, you know what I'm saying? and all that good stuff. Standing there, looking like $1 million, all that good stuff with the goddamn beast physique, and Paul Heyman's talking that shit storm. He's over there saying, Oba, I like the role they're kind of doing with Heyman, kind of like basically making excuses for Brock as to why he's gotten duped, you know what I'm saying, and dumped by Oba Femi for 2 weeks straight. So the first time he got hit with the powerbomb, he said the only reason why you hit a powerbomb on Brock Lesnar is because, Seth kind of charged at him and distracted him. And so that's why you were able to hit that powerbomb. And then when you knocked him over the top rope, well, in all fairness, Brock wasn't ready for a fight, man. He was in street clothes. He wasn't even ready for a fight. You know what I'm saying? But now he is, right? Because Brock was in his ring gear. It's like, okay, he's ready for a fight now. And then as, Paul Heyman talking his shit, eventually Brock says, all right, brother, I'm tired of this bullshit. Oba, get your ass out here right now. Let's fight. You know what I'm saying? So Brock is straight and to the point. That brings out Oba. The security guards are trying to separate him, and Oba knocks a couple of them down. And then when he does that, where he kind of picks them up in that kind of build back suplex position, and he freaking tossed and turned that mofo in the air, helicopter spin style. And that guy, I don't know who that was, that security guard was. You know what I'm saying? Usually they make it some independent wrestlers. Shout out to him for taking that bump because he landed right on his hip. I mean, he landed on the ramp away too. Not even like anywhere where it was like a padded surface. Straight on the ramp. So I don't know how much they paid him to take that, but it must have been a good amount for him to agree on it. Or maybe he just wanted whatever TV time he could get. I don't know, but yeah, he took that one. That was, shout out to him. He's a soldier for that. But then, yeah, they get in the ring and Oba circles the ring. And I like on commentary, they were like, man, you never really see this. Like somebody circling the ring for Brock. Like usually Brock's the one that's like the shark that smells blood in the water. He circles around before he capitalizes on it and attacks him. But now Oba's the one that's circling, making Brock Lesnar wait in the ring. And Oba being bigger than Brock physically works because it's not that like you see that every day. You don't usually, Brock's the bigger guy. So when you have that rare moment where the guy is almost more of a beast in a big threat than Brock Lesnar, then you've really got something with the crowd, especially with the Oba chants and doing the good old who, you know what I'm saying, throughout his entrance song. So they love Oba. They love this. They want to see this. The crowd was even chanting holy shit when Oba finally got into the ring and they stared face to face. But then Triple H got involved because, Oba had, before he got into the ring, he pushed Adam Pearce, the general manager, and then Triple H, who's the CEO, COO, whatever, of the company, he had to even get in there and go, hey, not tonight. We trying to protect our main event, or Paul Heyman calls it the real WrestleMania main event, and it feels like it. But he's like, hey, I'm trying to protect this match. Like, bro, we got to get to Mania. We got to get to Mania. And that led to Brock leaving the ring. He even picked up some steps and put them down, like, basically acting like he was about to do something on some shit. And then he just F5'd the security guard because Brock does what he wants. Whether that was probably supposed to happen or not, I bet you it probably wasn't. But whatever. He wants to do something because, like, hell, y'all got me in my ring gear. I got to do something to somebody. So I like this feud. This is probably the best feud build to Mania as far as it's just consistently been delivering. But also, part of the reason why it's been consistently delivering is because with this feud, they don't need to have this intricate story when it comes to the promos. They don't need this great intricate story where it's so compelling and it has so many layers. It's just two big ass men teasing a fight and they're both over. I mean, you don't need to do a whole lot with this build, which is probably why it's been so good, is because in this build, simplicity is key. Tease the fight, but don't give them the fight. Like, for example, later in the night, I'm getting a little ahead. Roman and Punk, they fought each other and they brawled and they had a pull-apart brawl. That doesn't really work for Brock and Oba for real, because if they brawl and put each other through a table, then you're basically giving them the match at Mania, because that's when it's going to be a car crash of a match that's not going to go more than about 5 to 10 minutes. So that being said, they can't do what Roman and Punk did because that's too much physicality and you basically just gave them the Mania match. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they've had very limited physicality. So yeah, they've been building this up perfectly and knocking it out the park. Paul Heyman's got his hands all over this as far as how the build goes. Paul Heyman loves booking these freaking beast versus beast type matches. So yeah, they got something great with Oba. He's young. He's obviously a new star that's come on the scene, and I'm glad they're doing my man's right. The only way they could do him the best they could possibly do him is by having him win at Mania, but we'll address that when we get to the day when the match takes place. But either way, the build's been fantastic, and it's gotten Oba hella over. I love to see it. Anyway, next thing that happened was a little brief segment. Sorry, I think my arm started bleeding a little bit, a little scratch. But anyway, basically what happened was Liv came out there and she was pretty short and brief and to the point. She was like, hey, you know what? New York, New Jersey, whatever it is, you know, this where I come from, and where I come from is on site. You know what I'm saying? And my mom told me, you know what I'm saying, basically not to let nobody, you know, treat me no type of way, push me over, get the better of me. But your mom, on the other hand, I think she said like, tu madre something puta. I think it translated, I'm 270 something days in the Duolingo, so I kind of know a little bit. I think she basically told her, I think it was like, your mother is garbage, bitch. It was something like that. That's what it translates to. It's like, your mother is, you know, a piece of garbage, bitch. It was something like that. Basically, that brought out Stephanie, and she got the better of her a little bit. She hit her with a couple of punches, got a kick on the Liv, and Liv was, you know, damn near knocked out unconscious. But then little Roxanne, you know what I'm saying? Roxanne. You know what I'm saying? She comes out there, Roxanne Perez. I think that was her return. I think she had like a surgery or whatever. So that was her little return and all that good stuff. They beat her down, and then she hit the Oblivion, you know, the little flatliner off the rope into the steel chair. And I like the simplicity they're going with this match too. Like, they're kind of just have them limitedly speaking, you know what I'm saying, disrespecting each other a little bit, and we're out of there. And it's probably for the better, because I think if this segment would have went like a long time, it sometimes going too long on the mic, because yeah, they could probably go longer, but because of the whole like language barrier thing and how Stephanie's not as well versed in English, I think it's probably the best that they actually leave this to more of a physicality type build than a verbal build. But anyway, it's a way more exciting match than Rhea and Jade, which is crazy because on paper, Rhea and Jade should be a bigger match because of the names and the look and all that good stuff. You would think that'd be the bigger match, but yeah, nah. They're killing it pretty well, as best as I feel like they probably can with the Liv and Stephanie stuff. So yeah, that was pretty good, but that was one of the brief things of the night. But another thing that happened in the night that was worth of note before we get to the main event was Penta defended his championship against Kofi successfully, and then he announced it was going to be a ladder match, and I think it's going to be a ladder match for the IC title between my boy Javon Evans, that boy get bouncy, Rusev, Penta obviously is the champion, JD McDonough, and Dragon Lee. So that's going to be a banger and a show stealer. It's great to see my boy Javon Evans, another, you know what I'm saying, brother of mine, you know what I'm saying, he's only a year older than me, so we got a little connection there and all that good stuff. So yeah, dope to see what he's doing. And yeah, I hope he does great in that ladder match, gets the show out and all that good stuff. But moving on and moving along, last thing that happened on the show before the main event was Paul Heyman came out there again on the microphone talking this shit. And earlier in the night, Adam Pearce was like, hey, bro, you been reading your email? Like, I've been sending you an email. And Paul Heyman's been like, bro, I'm the wise man. You know, I'm the, not wise man, but, Oracle advocate. I know what I'm doing. I don't need to read your little damn email. Or like basically saying, of course I read the email, whatever. And Adam Pearce was like, well, then the little suspension you had on Seth, or what, not suspension, but the restraining order you had on Seth, it's been lifted, you know what I'm saying? And now that brings out Seth. His music plays for the first time since he's been back. And Shabuya, he hits Paul Heyman in the back with a steel chair and I think he was going to deliver a stomp on the steel chair, but out of nowhere, it wasn't Braun Breaker, which a lot of us thought like he was going to be healed in time for Mania, but he wasn't. So Braun Breaker didn't come out there. It ended up being Gunther that dragged Seth out of the ring with his little blue jeans and black shirt on and choked out Seth Rollins. He was like, go to sleep, go to sleep. And I don't know how Gunther started bleeding, but he might have hit his face on something, but he actually started kind of bleeding. I don't know what happened there, but he choked Seth Rollins out on the announce table. Crowd chanting F you Gunther. And look, I get it. It's a short notice match, but I mean, both of their original opponents, Rey Mysterio was supposed to, I think, be Gunther's original opponent, and Seth was supposed to face Braun Breaker. But since both of those guys are injured, they're making them face each other in Gunther and Seth because they're healthy. So this should be great. Even though we only got 2 weeks left, I think they can do some good build between these guys. And also, these are two guys that are not only top stars and there's a clear face and a clear heel, but these also are guys that are two great in-ring technicians who consistently deliver banger matches, especially on WrestleMania. I don't think Seth has had a bad match at WrestleMania, and Gunther's worst match was against Jey Uso last year, but other matches, whether it be the one with Sammy or the triple threat for the IC title, those have both delivered. So I think Seth and Gunther is going to be, hopefully, if they give it enough time and for these 2 weeks they give some good build out of this, make some sense. Maybe Paul Heyman pulls some strings to align himself with Gunther, because Gunther's the whole career killer, right? So maybe he had a deal, right? Heyman may have made a deal with Gunther, like, hey, I'm down a man with Braun Breaker, so if you'll come in and maybe sub in to take out Seth Rollins, because what you get out of this is that's another career you can kill. You know what I'm saying? So you can make an easy thing of like Paul Heyman reached out to him, you know what I'm saying, because he was down a man, and what Gunther gets out of this is he can kill another career. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, they can make a connection. Nonetheless, it was very surprising. And like I said, they're both great in-ring technicians who deliver banger matches consistently. So that's another way of saying Seth and Gunther, that should be another show stealer match. That should be another match where, like, even though it's not the main event, it should be able to steal the show as one of the best matches on the card. So yeah, WrestleMania is shaping up to be a great card. In the main event, it wasn't nothing serious. Roman just came out there and said, acknowledge me. Punk came out there. They started throwing punches. There was no talking because there don't need to really be that much talking anyway. Yeah, they just started fighting, pull apart brawl, led to Roman. I think he hit like some type of shoulder. I think it was supposed to be maybe a Superman punch or whatever, but they might have got a little mixed signal, so it ended up just being him basically kind of delivering like a leaping shoulder tackle to Punk, and then they fought on the outside of the ring, and then Punk eventually ended up hitting a GTS on the Roman Reigns and a powerbomb through the table, and did the whole mocked him for his little chant that he does, that they do in the crowd because he goes Roman Reigns, you know, he's mocking that, and then he's punching Punk is punching Roman in the face. And the crazy thing was, that was how the show ended. But after the show went off the air, I think Punk basically was talking to a fan, and he was like basically saying, I forgot what he said to that fan. He was like, "This is MSG, you know. This is basically MSG, and this is where wrestling happens, not cinema. You know, basically like, get that bullshit out of here. This is wrestling, not no damn cinema. This ain't no cinematic movie. This is wrestling." You know what I'm saying? And he even did the, like, you know, the hand gesture jack off motion, because he was like mocking the fact that he does the damn Superman punch. He was just, you know, mocking Roman, all that shit. And Roman even was like on Twitter, he was like, "Yeah, I'm ending this guy, you know, at WrestleMania. This guy's an embarrassment," all that good shit. So did a little post-match build as well. But anyway, great show overall. You know, it wasn't perfect, you know, in a sense, you know what I'm saying? It was, you know, it wasn't like it was the, you know, greatest show of all time, but it was a great show nonetheless. Very enjoyable. Like I said, they purposely always pack the shows for MSG. So that being said, it was enjoyable. And yeah, I think WrestleMania now has, after tonight, I think WrestleMania has now 12 matches official, because another match that was official, that got made official, was now a fatal four-way for the Women's Tag Team Championships. It was Charlotte and Alexa versus the Bella Twins versus the was it Irresistible Forces, Nia Jackson, Lash Legend, versus Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. It will be a fatal four-way match. They announced that. It will also be official that it will be Finn versus Dom at WrestleMania. And then, like I said earlier, the IC title match between Penta, JD McDonough, Javon Evans, Rusev, and Dragon Lee. So those three matches after tonight became official. I think that was there another match that was made official on the card? That might be it. I might be leaving one out. Was that it? I think that might have been it. Yeah, the IC title ladder match, the fatal four-way for the women's titles, and Finn versus Dom. I think there was another match that got made official, but I just can't. Oh, Seth and Gunther. That's another match that's official at WrestleMania. Seth Rollins versus Gunther. That's another. So 4 matches are now official at Mania, which means I think they probably got like 2 more slots left, because they usually do 7 matches each night. So I think, that being said, there'll probably be 2 more matches. The 2 matches I think that are going to be added, one of them I don't know. The other one, like I said earlier, I think it's probably going to be that way they get Speed involved in the WrestleMania show. They'll probably do Speed in the Vision versus the Usos and LA Knight. That's probably going to be one of the matches to get all those like bigger names on the card. That's probably what they'll do with that. Other match, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know, it's going to be something for the U.S. Women's Championship, or maybe another, or maybe Io Sky gets on the card somehow, maybe do an Oscar match. I'm not sure, but nonetheless, on paper, it's shaping up to look like a great WrestleMania for the most part. A lot of different matches. You know, you got your world title matches for the guys, the world title matches for the women. Both mid-card titles for the guys are now on the line. You got AJ Lee and Becky Lynch, Oba and Brock, Jacob and Drew. So on paper, this is looking up to be a great WrestleMania show in terms of match quality, and there's a lot of good, like, you know, names on this card. And I like how much young talent's on the card too. You know, Trick, Javon, Oba, is there another guy I'm missing? Jacob, I guess, would be kind of, he's one of the younger guys too. So yeah, it's a good mixture of everything on this card as far as top stars, younger up and coming talent. So I like how it's shaping up to be, man. And yeah, hopefully, especially with the U.S. Title with Trick and Sammy, I hope that I would hope Carmelo gets added to that match because he has a reason to be added to that match with how he got screwed over and all that good stuff. But that's one of those days where time will tell. We'll see what happens there. But anyway, love to appreciate each and every single one of you guys. You let me know what you thought of the show if you saw it. And if you didn't see it, if you just was tuning in for me, hope you enjoyed the video. And at the end of the day, when I say it is what it is, what it's going to be is this certified, legitimized, legalized product. Continue to come out with the content, videos, the bangers every single day. So turn on notifications so that you know the second a new video drops. Love and appreciate all you guys for the success. And we just going to go higher and higher, man. Let's do it. Let's keep building up this community. That's all you need to know. And that's the vibe that DJ's on.